Vibration of the One.
Let me give a shout out to Vibration the One. You are appreciated.
Hello, everybody. So, yes, it's been a little bit of a while. Been exploring a lot of the live streaming technology, and thanks for the feedback with everyone with the mic and all of the technical difficulties. So I thought I'd just come on and give a winging podcast. Things have been coming up, so that one of the things I thought would be useful for this podcast is talking about things that in such a way that people probably thinking the same thing, wondering if they should talk about it or not. So, I'm going to talk about the vast possibility of dimensions and space within the realm of Earth. And so with that can come many things. I'd like to specifically say that when you do get into, let's just say, Qigong, energetics, being aware of your biofield, becoming a mover, shaker of your energy field, much like things being affected by the atomic bomb, when it ignited, it expands and affects many things in its surrounding. So keep that in mind. I believe that's what happens when you go deep and start using your energy field, whether that be for healing, whether that be the songs you are putting out, you're affecting the space, and if the human ear is available to listen, and animals are affected by that sound and that space, wouldn't it be quite possible that other things that are beyond our perception would also be paying attention to such a thing? And so, I've had a funny day where a lot of energy within my field causes such things as your laptop to short circuit or turn off, or lights flicker and that sort of thing. And it's quite funny when you admit this or talk to friends who have experienced similar things. Again, the acknowledgement that we rely on for our mirroring, perhaps some may say their sanity, to know that they're not the only one experiencing this. Many of these things can be earthbound or dreamscape bound. And I'm going to go out and say perhaps dimensions of dream and dimensions of time-space reality in the third dimension are connected in some way. You could even say by vibration and intention. So, if you've looked at my channel on YouTube, there is music and performances, and there's also some footage I shot of a silvered disc. Actually, there were 3 of them came up out of the water, and I only got to shoot them when they coasted from right to left. And initially, before that, I had been meditating almost for 24 hours. And I had this vibration of awareness of my sensation at a very subtle level beyond just the layer around my skin and beyond, depending on which one I wanted to focus on. And this is how the world is always funny, in the sense that I did not expect this to happen. I went down to the water feeling really great, and in a telepathic thought, I had beamed out, wow, I feel great. I feel this energetic experience, this energy body, this rainbow body, whatever you may call it, teeming, expanding within my direct, radiant, let's say, more than my own couple of feet. And I had said something to the effect of, I'm ready for something to, whatever it is, show itself. I'm at a new state of consciousness. May that consciousness open up, whatever it may open up, as I'm ready to receive a new experience. And a new experience I did have. So I cannot verify exactly what it was, but I do believe the intelligence of these silver spheres that rose out of the water of the Scarborough Bluffs mirrored a drawing I had done in respects to constellation Orion. And I create symbols and art, and sometimes language comes forth without thinking, and to a sense, so much of this has been coming forth that it's like I've created my own language. Some might call it light language, but it's a language unique to the frequency of the situation and or the being. And what I found quite incredible was when these spheres came out, I was in awe, first of all, that something like this was happening right in front of me in broad daylight. And yet I was laughing because I had my intention set out that I'm ready for anything. Please show me something new in the universe that I can connect to. And so up rose a sphere. It divided itself into 3 spheres. And when I could not comprehend in my brain the possibility of such thing occurring, in its intelligence, it did something very, let's say, eye-catching, so that I wouldn't just think this is to be misinterpreted as something else or in my imagination. The 2 other spheres became like satellites, which extended outwards at an even length apart from the center sphere. And then the 2 satellites rotated around the middle satellite or silver sphere, and they continue to rotate really slowly and rise upwards. And then it stopped, and it matched this drawing that I had made for years, which was the representation of Orion's belt. As you know, there are 3 stars that depict this constellation, as if to say, I know, and I'm intelligently communicating with you that you're not imagining this, and it stopped in the pattern and constellation of the belt. And it sat there for some time, not rising, and I sat in appreciation of this interdimensional glorious moment. And then I turned into that human mode where I wanted to film this. Immediately, the vibration changed in the sense that this was for me and maybe perhaps not to be shared with the world, but it was then that the spheres returned as one sphere, but the satellites circled for a couple of loops until it became a solid sphere again, and then it coasted very slowly out of sight to the right, and as if to say, we know you were taking your camera out, so we're not going to give you that show, because that would just be a little bit too much for you maybe right now, as I read it in retrospect. But the funny thing is, as I was filming, I did catch two of them sparkling in the light, and they drifted off to the side. And I had actually put that up online, and I did a magnification with the video software I had. But it's to say, the interesting thing is, I did not plan for that to happen. I had just intended to be ready for something I had never experienced before. In the pure openness of my heart. And within subsequent years after that, whenever I tried to show somebody or talk about it, I found it very interesting that either I was shut down, or I was easily glazed over and the subject was drastically changed, or people actually fell asleep in front of me when I told them this. And I got the message that perhaps I'm not supposed to tell anyone about this and keep it to myself. But lately, as I've been sharing the vast expanse of experiences, I found in the year of 2022, the openness has been much more than the previous years. And so if we are to share the coming of the next reality, there is almost a vibrational reach in the years when I connect that perhaps I'm supposed to be an ambassador of this consciousness to let you know it's not something scary. And within that feeling of witnessing this, I had a very bright, expanded feeling in my heart, in my heart chakra. I felt like it was glowing green. And subsequently, after these experiences, I started to meet more people who may have been contactees, or people that had similar or very different experiences, and gaining some acknowledgement from that. And yet, the funny thing is, I did not seek this specifically out, and I am not saying I know exactly what those spheres are, as they were at quite a distance. But I do know my state of consciousness is one of extreme meditation and balance and openness at that time. If you can ever reach that, or if you ask yourself, when have I been in the percentile of 100% open and saying, I am ready for anything, with a sheer confidence and determination, pure of heart, wide open, I am ready for anything. Whenever I've reached those states, I've had many supernatural or interdimensional type experiences. So I suppose that is what I'm sharing initially. If you are able to open yourself, you will get an open reflection back, perhaps something that's not even in your purview. And to bring it a little bit close to home, I have had that experience also with animals, where I'm open to having a thought-form communication, telepathic, if you will, to birds or deer or whatever is around you, and felt the resonant vibration of their intention and beamed comfort and peace towards them. Thusly, these creatures came closer, and perhaps when you're expanding love, and perhaps when you're expanding the vibration of deciding not to eat creatures or animals with a sentient consciousness, that they know on some level you mean no harm. And so with these experiences, dimensional, quite galactic or spacey or not, bringing it closer to home, there's these interactions with appearing to be from Earth, such as we go smaller, insects, butterflies, the vibration and vibrational creatures may be denoted as such by having two antennas on their head. And so if we, in a sense, our electromagnetic fields and perhaps our spine works as an antenna, then that is another way of perceiving and communicating. Perhaps. And this is, I want to bring this information forward as its utility is not a far-fetched story to be caught up in being part of a special group that can access these experiences. I believe everybody can, but I also see many people suffering from being shut down and not being allowed to talk about these kind of things. And I thought on this podcast, this is the such of the thing that I would like to do, is expand curiosity and questions and invite those borders and barriers to come down, as our shared experience is our own evolvement. And that's something that I thought to share today. You can check out the video on my page. I'll probably put a link to it. This is Vibrationoftheone Podcast, talking about experiences which are vibrational. Hopefully, such experiences may be an outreach to those who feel, let's say, not able to speak or choked up or afraid of being ridiculed. And even that, when you reach a point where you no longer have the fear of being ridiculed, it is a glorious expansion of being. As everyone has their own opinions and experiences, whether I keep this to myself or tell it, whatever that experience may be, it's within you. And if those experiences bring you joy and an expansion of mind, you can quietly walk around with those with an esoteric smile. And the challenge is making the experience your own without too much reference to what you may see or hear from other people. Just remember, what did you experience and what did you learn from your interdimensional or supernatural experience? Such as to say, that's another topic, maybe put in the world of supernatural or spirits or ghosts, that I do time to time have the capability of opening and sensing those channels, careful to respect all beings, whether they're passed over or not. And that is how I reach equilibrium, as I do not step on toes, let's say. I accept all dimensional formats of spirit, if you want to put it that way. And I guess I want to speak to that too, the fear that these things that are not like us or of another perception should strike fear within you. Where is that coming from? If you just thought, I'm going to say hello, perhaps they'd acknowledge you back. But that's what we're walking into, the space of the other, no matter what it may be, is quite a habit form within humanity. Anything different from you is to be feared and is to be either controlled, taken care of, maybe attacked. This is the consciousness that is still trying to resolve itself. Even within the last 2 years, the otherness of your medical status. Easy to fear the other now, isn't it? And so, just as a primer, when those dimensional worlds start to bleed through, and as is the being I am, I start to get questioned and called for some clarification or some sense of grounding the experience. I must say that the way that the planet is evolving and ascending, I believe as we get lighter and more open to our inner selves, these other selves, if you can think of that way, these other versions of spirit may have a connection to humanity. They may even be another version of you, if you can stretch that far, trying to deliver you a message that we are of one consciousness. As you go further up or further deep within the levels of your knowing, when you know everything has a connection and you feel that within yourselves, one can only see the world of a different perception. In one way, begin to act with more compassion and more readiness to receive that which is different, which is actually part of you, the opposite spectrum, still part of the whole, as the 3D dimension of perceiving keeps you within those rules of perceiving. And this is why I believe some of these experiences are here, just to lightly tap us and say, are you ready to see beyond the third dimension? And even the word see could be quite limited to the eyes, but you can see vibrationally, you can see by ways of the senses, you can see by the ways of dream and traveling. And that's another one. Perhaps all these things seem far-fetched, but if you said to someone, oh, I had a dream about this, it's funny that that's more readily accepted than I had this actual experience in my waking state. And that's the taboo that I wish to lightly open the door ajar, as there are many other things that are earthbound, which raises questions of validity when you look within folklore. And within that can be the realm of fairies and dwarves. And you may wonder, why are there so many stories of little pixies having fun with humans or dwarves or whatever little people stories there may be? There's countless within our cultures, whether that be as far away as Holland or Germany or the Philippines or Japan, stories of sprites and things like that. This is not a real thing. Did we collectively make up all these stories to have them come out so similar? So with that, I just thought this would be a fun little banter to let you know there's so much more out there. And again, this is Vibration of the One podcast. My name is Jay. You can reach me at linktr.ee/vibrationoftheone. You can find the links on the YouTube channel as I will post the video component of these chats there. And thanks for your support, and thanks for the kind words, everybody. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. And, you know, there's no subject that I feel like is something I'm not afraid to go down in if it's interesting. If it makes me curious and it helps our curiosity move forward, why not have these fun conversations? And within this, perhaps you can expand those fun conversations towards your own friends and see how these topics are met. Perhaps other people will acknowledge similar stories with you, and thusly, you are not alone in realizing there is so much more within this planet Earth realm. And so, good night, everybody. I hope you are well. I am moving towards another space of going to school next week, actually. So, I'm still gonna drop in here and tune in. I'd like to also say no worries to everyone that seems to be affected by all the planetary, let's say, activity. May you look at it as these energies are here to offer you a new ride planetarily. You know, there's the habit that we look at alignments and we look at all of these constructs of organization to denote that thusly something is expected or to occur, where I will challenge it and say, but you are a conscious being. If you bring that to awareness, you don't have to fall into the habitual. You can churn your own inner fire and rise up, and you can be that creator soul self that remembers the powerfulness of its own majestic creativity. And so with that, I will leave you. Perhaps I will do a throat singing here, as I had done it on the live stream before and my microphone wasn't very loud, so let's give you something for balance. One for the middle eye. And one for Sahasrara. And moving the arms in the 6 directions, clear the energy field. And the beauty of the energy awareness is you can cultivate and recharge. And the more you practice, the more you can clear any dense field from your auric field with your intention. And it is a wonderful practice that I am promoting to my friends who have the knowledge, but they maybe don't practice as much as they should. And that's the thing. It's like when you practice, you get the benefits of that which you're practicing. So thanks for coming along as usual. If you would like to make a donation towards this podcast, you can go straight, even with PayPal me /Vibrationoftheone, I believe, as now I am going to become a student again. Probably will need whatever side income I can find. If not, be happily seeing you again on the street, perhaps when I have time, as it is getting sunny again, and I have come out a couple of times to play for the enjoyment of myself and others. And I was actually told that I was a troubadour. And I did not know what that word meant, in the sense that I believe it is that I'm going out there to spread joy, some intention, not really expecting to ask for something back in the ways of return monetarily, that the joy within itself is that I'm sharing and affecting, making people smile. And that is first and foremost. And secondarily, if monetary vibrations come my way, those specific coins or what have you resonate with value which is not defined by the digit. And so I would like to leave you with that also. Just spread your good energy, keep the flow, keep your connection to spirit, whatever that may be for you, and know that I, like many others, are here on this planet Earth in this realm to learn, to help, to expand, to reach out when you need a helping hand, and in return, those hands endlessly reaching back and forth with reciprocity. And so with that, I will say good night, and I'll surely see you again in another impromptu podcast. So thanks again, everybody.